Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international best-selling book called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. If you've listened to the show the past couple of years, you've heard me invite you to attend something called the Afterlife Symposium. Well, 2019 brings a new event name to a venue many of us are familiar with. It is called the Soul Summit Scottsdale, brought to you in partnership with the AREI, a bit different than the symposium, but at the same beautiful hotel with some of our most favorite guest speakers and some great new ones, and some really great new special content. Our guest today is the co-creator of that event and publicist, Kathleen Malone. And on the show, we'll find out about her passion for sharing the reality of the afterlife and get some details about this amazing new event. Kathleen was our guest on episode 259 about a year ago, and you can hear more about her personal journey on that episode. You can also visit the beautiful new website, soulsummitscottsdale.org, to find out more about this new event that we are talking about today. Kathleen Malone, welcome back to We Don't Die Radio.
Oh, Sandra, it's so great to be with you again. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I feel like I'm with you physically, even though we're thousands of miles apart. I just remember when we said our goodbyes at Scottsdale last year, and what an amazing time I had and many hundreds others at the symposium.
Oh, I feel the same way, Sandra. Your energy reaches all the way to me here in Phoenix from Boston.
Thanks.
That's amazing.
And I've got sniffles today, so if I sound a little plugged up, I am, but my heart's in it. So the biggest question I think I have, or we have, because many people have asked me, is people say, oh, the symposium's not coming back, but there's something new. So it's a little bit different, but a lot of the same things. And I want people to feel very comfortable that the people they know and love and the service and the great camaraderie is still in existence this year in September at the Soul Summit Scottsdale. So would you mind sharing about it and kind of how it came about?
Of course, I'm happy to share. What we did is we ran surveys after the symposium last year in September, and we asked, what would you like to see come next? And we had this overwhelming response that, okay, you've proven that that the afterlife exists. You've proven that we can speak to the other side, and we can, develop a relationship with our loved ones and our pets on the other side of the veil. But what do we do now? How do we apply this to our lives now in preparation for our own afterlives? So that's what people were asking. And so the reason why we created this event, the tagline on it is, live a high vibration life, the art of living a high vibration life. And so we want to teach in this particular weekend how to live that high vibration life, because we also know, which is really important, that our loved ones in spirit, their greatest wish for us is to live life fully, love ourselves completely, forgive easily, and to bask in freedom, love, and magical manifesting and abiding joy. That's what we know for sure. And we also know for sure that when we grow on this side of the veil, they grow with us, and that deepens our connection to them.
I don't think I've ever heard that concept before, Kathleen.
Yes, and I just heard it again yesterday, which I was very surprised in listening to Suzanne Wilson's Spiritual Explorers. One of our presenters, Vincent Jenna from North Carolina, or from the Carolinas, a psychic medium, spiritual teacher, and psychotherapist. He said the same thing, and I've heard it a couple of times, and the people at the symposium the last couple of years have talked about it. And so the better we are here, the better our deceased ones are on the other side as well. They grow while on the other side, and they also grow with us here. And so the more we exude a high vibration life, the easier it is for them to connect to us, and they don't have to work quite as hard. They grow to catch up with us. So it's a mutual effort on this whole thing. And so the joy that we bring to them as they accompany us accompany us on the journey is quite profound. And so that's why we decided to focus on the high vibration and high frequency living for September.
I think it's really great because on all of my episodes, even though, yes, we talk about the afterlife, there comes a point where if we know that we don't die, that our loved ones are still around, and you start thinking, well, then my life's got to be for a purpose. And I think it's really great to be able to step in and say, okay, you've got, who knows how much time each of us have left on this physical plane, but how are we going to get our money's worth out of this life and turn up that vibration. So I think it's really cool that you guys are doing that.
Well, thank you. We're very excited about it, and we've got feedback from the other side too, through Suzanne Wilson and a couple of others, that this is the path that our loved ones want us to take.
Excellent.
So here we are.
Yeah, let me just back up a little bit about you, Kathleen, because some people may not have heard us on that great interview a year ago, but what made you get into this realm in the first place? Has this always been something you've been interested in? Just if you could tell us just a couple minutes about you.
Actually, no, I did not aspire to do what I'm doing. It was something that was just very circumstantial for me. I was living in London, Ontario, Canada, running a printing business up there. And when I came to the States, after we sold the business, I came back to my physician, who was a naturopath here in Paradise Valley, and she had just written a book, and she said, would you help me promote this? And I said, well, I really don't know the first thing about that. And she said, I know you'll figure it out, and she left it with me. And I thought, okay, well, I don't have anything else planned right now. So within 2 weeks, I had her as a weekly guest on a morning show, one of the top morning shows here in Arizona. And within that year, she was voted top doc naturopath in our top doc magazine and in Phoenix magazine. And it wasn't my doing. It was just putting her in the right place at the right time. And then she took it from there and just, blossomed through. And to this day, since 2004, she's still a weekly guest on television and radio and still a top doc. And so then my name got out to Caroline Sutherland because she and Teresa Ramsey did a cruise together, and Caroline was Louise Hay's health coach and a best-selling author for Hay House, and started working for Caroline. And she's getting ready to retire on March 1st, but she will be at the summit in September to provide medical intuitive readings and to provide a session on how to live that high vibe life, health-wise and physically. And so my business just grew from there, just by word of mouth. And so I fell in love with it. I mean, I was a high school and a college swim coach. I also competed for 10 years across the country and internationally. And so it came naturally to me. But it's just a lot about connecting with people and connecting people to each other.
And you're good at it. You really are good at it. And I know you, probably not that well, but I've seen you in action, and you give your whole heart and soul to make sure the attendees of your event have the best possible experience. So I hope someday we get to work together on something, because
I would love that.
Yeah,
love it.
I think it'll happen in time. But for now, I'm happy to share you guys. How did you get introduced to the great folks with the AREI, Afterlife Research and Education Institute, to help with the symposiums?
It started in 2015 when I interviewed with ACSC, I believe, before they branched out to AREI. Mm-hmm. And so I started with that conference at the Embassy Suites in Scottsdale, and that Afterlife conference, and they just kept me on, which I'm really grateful.
Well,
I'm really grateful.
We're grateful that you kept on too. And I just to our listener, Kathleen, every so often we have a little sound distortion, and it might be happening on my microphone as well, but just bear with us and we'll do the best we can. So Kathleen, I might need you to repeat something now and again. Maybe not.
Of course.
But just I am aware of it. And I am grateful for modern technology, but I also know it's not perfect. So if you are listening and hear a little of the sound distortion, just know that we're onto it. So now, who your partner in creating this year, besides the AREI being your title sponsor, but is Suzanne Wilson. Can you tell us about coming together with her with your vision for this? I know you spoke a little bit about
Suzanne, it. Well, thank you. Suzanne and I decided a while back that providing heart-centered events was something that we both wanted to do. So we took her free medium and my Sundance name and combined them and formed a production company. And we're also doing other events. We're doing a Bridging Heaven and Earth with Suzanne Wilson and Tina Powers here in Scottsdale, May 4th and 5th. They'll do mediumship mentoring because, the other thing that we've discovered through this process is that people on the other side want us to connect ourselves. They don't want us out there hiring medium and psychic after psychic to, or medium after medium to connect. They want to, dive in when they're ready and not have to wait for an appointment like that. We of like mind, and we get along well, and we work well together. We finish each other's sentences, so it felt right to do this together.
Yeah, it's really great. Suzanne Wilson, for anyone who doesn't know, goes by the Carefree Medium because she lives in Carefree, Arizona. She's got a great book out called Soul Smart, and I've been with her enough to know that she is passionate about helping people bridge the connections themselves for yourself, tapping into the unseen world. And of course, it's great to have a one-on-one with a evidential medium, but to give us the tools to make those connections ourselves. So I love that. And maybe you can give us how we can find out more about that May event also. And I can include that in this description of this episode. Kathleen, will you have some afterlife things there, though, for those people that are still enjoy medium readings and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, if you remember the foyer where you were with your table,
yes,
for We Don't Die, that entire foyer will be filled with our intuitive lane. We are carefully vetting psychics and mediums and healers and healing products for that area for this year, so that people can schedule their own appointments in that area. That's where Caroline Sutherland will be providing medical intuitive readings. And so we will have carefully vetted people out there providing readings. We'll also have John Holland on Thursday night. He's going to do Bridging Two Realms, this new book. He'll provide 2 hours of readings, and we'll have Wilson providing readings during a session. We've got 17 sessions, and this year we're including 3 meals. So there is afterlife attention, and we are also talking to Jamie Clark and Mark Nelson about providing little group sessions in boardrooms for more contact. So we want to maintain that piece of, bridging the two realms or talking to the other side, and the communications. We want to keep that going for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important, and it feels good, and it's fun to be at those. And even myself, I can live life many days in a row forgetting this afterlife side of myself. And then next thing you know, I'm recording another interview, and it's like, oh yeah, we are souls having a human journey. Okay. All right. And so even in the course of a weekend, learning how to raise your vibration and things with self-empowerment, to be reminded of your loved ones around. Or I love that idea of having that lane where people can book their own readings. I think that's so important. I'm glad you guys are going to do that.
Yes, thank you.
Will it be like I don't want to compare too much to the symposium, but I think there's a number of people that, like myself, just wonder a little bit the same, a little bit different. Will it be something where we have a choice of different rooms to be in, or will most of it be in a main room and then there's certain additional things we can do?
Of all of the sessions, there will be a couple of choices that you can make, but for the most part, we'll be in the main room. And, seeing people like Scott Taylor from the Newton Institute, that's near-death experiences. We'll be talking with Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who is a a researcher in the metaphysical and other parts of life that are not seen. We'll also have an astrologer there, your astrology and your soul. So we'll be diving into soul purpose. We'll have a couple of sessions where you will choose, but not very many, maybe 2, maybe 3. We'll also have Howard Martin there from Heart Math, which is a really profound healing tool to keep that vibration up, healing from any trauma and things like that. So we're going to offer a lot of holistic approaches to, as well as the afterlife.
I really like this because it is focusing on our soul in all manners. Get the evidence of the afterlife and really the support, and healing is definitely a big part of that, and living our best life. And what I'm excited about, just from my point of view, is there's so many people that I don't know that are speaking on your stage. So it's new, it's different. You guys always have really great speakers. I unfortunately have to work my catering business that weekend. So I'm trying to figure a way that I can maybe pop in through, space, the magic of the internet or something, to say hello. But for all the listeners, even though I won't be there physically, I will be there in spirit, and I will do everything I can do to really be a partner of the Soul Summit Scottsdale. Even though I won't, like I said, physically be there, I support you guys just 1,000%. I know we're all part of the AREI organization, sister organizations, and I'll do everything I can to support you. And for our listener right now, if you enjoyed the symposium last year and want something a little bit the same but a little bit different, and now take it to that next step of really soul empowerment, it sounds like it's for you. And will you guys be filming this, do you think?
We are talking about doing some live streaming. We are adding an event on Friday night. It's called a game night with George Noory and Tom Danheiser. We've still got a dinner gala event, which will feature George Noory and John Holland, who will provide more demonstration. And so we are looking right now at which pieces we want to film for people who can't attend.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. And you can count on me for signing up for whatever it is you create, because I don't want to miss it. Oh, and I know there'll be an opportunity, I'm sure, to interview some of the people you have on your stage. But I'm really excited about this. I just, I wish we could be everywhere at once. But I have to have integrity to my main business, my catering business, that weekend. When is the Soul Summit Scottsdale?
The Soul Summit Scottsdale, we start on September with 2 optional workshops, one featuring Vincent Jenna to become unstoppable, and then we have John Holland that evening with Realms. And we're also including on that day the option to go to Sedona, the option to take a Jeep tour through the Sonoran Desert, or the option to take a tour through Scottsdale, through the art districts. And so the gallery districts actually were here in Scottsdale. Were the beginning gallery districts in Santa Fe and in other parts of the country. They sort of originated here in Scottsdale. So we're very excited to offer those options as well. Why we're saying that it begins September 12th is because we start at 8:15 on Friday morning. So you want to be here in time to start that morning. And I want to mention, I'm starting to lose my voice. This is crazy. This is a full moon weekend. We will also have a sound energy healing session with Gretchen Bicker, a manifesting session during the weekend, to focus on what we can manifest in our high vibration and carry that through to well after when we leave.
Beautiful. I'm very excited for you guys. And I'm on your website now on my iPhone, and I'm just, thinking, oh, George Norrie, Suzanne Wilson, John Holland. I've seen him demonstrate years ago mediumship, and then also taken a course with him. He is just a phenomenal, not only medium, but teacher and person. And of course, love George Norrie and Tommy D. And Suzanne Giesman. She's going to be there, I see.
Suzanne Giesman has graciously agreed to present 3 times during the weekend. She will do a Sanaya session, and she will also present her The Awakened Way, another really great way to raise your vibration. And she is also presenting a workshop on Sunday for 3 hours. So she is going to be very busy during the weekend, and she's going to step up in a very big way for us.
I'm thrilled you have her. For those who don't know, Suzanne is a former U.S. Navy commander turned medium and so much more. And when I was at the symposium, I don't know if it was last year or the year before last, and did one of the sessions with her, you know those pictures that you can look at and they just look like a pretty pattern, and then you cross your eyes and then suddenly it becomes a 3-dimensional image? You know what I'm talking about, Kathleen? Okay, and maybe for our listener too. We did it as a kid. You know, you'd hold it and then you'd cross your eyes, and then all of a sudden a picture would emerge. And I'll never forget her saying that living life is like the picture, there's the normal picture. And where the spirit world is, it just takes a little bit of shift of our perception, kind of like when we cross our eyes a little bit, and we can connect with that spirit world. So she is a phenomenal speaker, a phenomenal medium, a phenomenal trance medium. And you really see the integrity behind her and her journey coming from a Navy commander. I mean, I love, I don't want to knock people that, like, I would always call them a little too woo-woo. There's some people, I think, in every field that can be a little bit to the extreme of what they talk about. And I know the people that I've met through you have been very centered, very grounded, very, like you get it. I've always had a fear of sharing this I believe in the afterlife side of myself, but now there's just such great, credible evidence and resources coming from some great people. So she's definitely one of them. Who is Howard Martin? He looks so familiar to me. I'm looking at him on the website, and I'm like, I know this guy, but I'm not sure why.
Yes, you do. Yeah, he's been and presenting since 1991. He helped found and is the executive vice president of HeartMath and the Global Coherence Initiative. And HeartMath is, for the last 21 years, has been or more, has been a scientifically proven way to reach that higher vibration through the heart. And what they're finding, and Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza also teach HeartMath in most of what they do nowadays, because they are partners, is that the heart is the intelligence of the body and over the mind. And so there are different exercises, software, if you need the guidance, it's fantastic software, I have it, to increase your heart coherence for a higher vibration, which also increases your intuitive intelligence and your intuitive abilities. So we not only start to heal, any trauma or grief that we have, or things that, betrayals or anything that we need to heal, by working through the HeartMath process, heart coherence. And so he is just a real sought after presenter. He is highly regarded by, Deepak Chopra, as I said, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's been on national television shows like he has been all over the world several times in teaching in 50 continents.
That's why I've seen him. I know him. Yeah, he's one of those big speakers. That's thrilling, because for myself, I will always be an explorer. And that's why I like doing these interviews, because I may not have the time to read so many books and go to certain, people's seminars and workshops and things, but I love to learn. I love to grow. I love to find out about new things. So you have filled my plate with a lot of new things. Our friend Craig Hogan will be there. Dr. Craig Hogan.
Yes, he will.
He's the president of AREI.
He'll be participating fully. He is fully backing this after surveys with me, and he said, "Let's do this." And I said, "Okay." And he is pushing the effort, actually. So I'm very honored to still be working with Craig.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. It's interesting to me to really just look at what we're doing. It's not a scarcity conversation. It's not like you have to go to one event, not another. People I've found that are interested in evidence of the afterlife or living an empowered life don't just buy one book or listen to one radio show or go to one conference. We do as many as we can get ourselves to and as many books as we can buy. And if you were to look at my messy room right now and see the hundreds of books that I have floating around, and I want to create the lifestyle for myself that I can go to everything, So I love that those of us who are playing in the speaker, creator of workshops and conferences realms, that we're joining arm in arm to promote each other and share each other. And I just think it's great. So the turning, go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, I love that. I love what you're saying because, as Suzanne Giesemann teaches, we are all one and we are affecting the field, as Parkinson's calls it. And we have to be in this together. There's no other way. And so thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I think the time is coming that there's going to be a real tipping point in the world on belief in the afterlife communication, empowering souls. And it's coming by us being together on this. We're an army all walking together in one direction and bringing in as many people as we can into the fold. And while some people coming to one event or reading one book or listening to my show may not be it, but maybe another show or, however we can work together, we work together because it is ultimately about I don't want to say healing our souls, but sort of my listeners on this show know it because I say it at the end of every episode. We're souls having a human experience. And I don't think there's a clock in the afterlife. I think this life is just a thread in the fabric of our soul in a bigger picture. But while we are on earth, there is a clock ticking. And if we can raise that vibration, live the most powerful life we can, learn to love, forgive, dial things up. I mean, I love that our folks in the afterlife are benefiting too from our growth, but why not do this?
Well, and the reason why we're doing it at a hotel in Scottsdale, Arizona, is because we can do online, but we don't want to see people sitting alone watching this. We want to have people in the same room, hug. They can elbow each other if they hear something that really resonates with them. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? We want togetherness. And so this weekend in September will be a great togetherness. I know that your event in Boston, We Don't Die Boston, is togetherness, and I know there's going to be a lot of hugs going on. Your event, We Don't Die Orlando, hugs going on. And I think that the more hugging we can do and the more connection we can do, the better we are as individuals.
Yes. Thank you for that. I wasn't going to mention my event, but you did. Thanks. Mine's going to be much smaller, not the big thing, but for anybody interested, March 2019, you can simply go to WeDon'tDieOrlando.com to find out about that. But I am absolutely thrilled what you guys are creating and just taking it to the next step, being inclusive of the afterlife, but also the next step of empowering people in their lives. And every evening last year at the symposium, and I'm sure every evening at the Soul Summit Scottsdale will be no different, we would meet in the lobby, meet in the bar, talk. You walk away with some of the best friends that I want to say speak this language. I think we all know people in our life that are gloom and doom and their glass is always half empty. But then you get around people that really get that we're souls having a human experience, that our life matters. And suddenly you become friends with these people. When you pick up the phone or see them again, you are talking about positive things. And so I think in the future, by building these relationships, you can really keep the growth going. We don't let each other have as many bad days. Is that fair to say?
That's exactly right. And the idea that we can maintain these relationships and remember someone that we've met if we run across a book or an event or a quote, even to pick up the phone or email them and to stay in touch with any of these topics and interest anyone. Having this tribe and this community is very healing in and of itself. And I had a woman call me this morning. She was in tears. She said, "Would this be a good event for me? I just lost my fiance very unexpectedly, and I'm a wreck." And I said, "This event would be great for you." And we talked about why. We talked about how, feeling that there's a reason for this loss and all of those things we talk about in grief. And she was inspired by the time we got off the phone. So it's an opportunity to, raise up. It's an opportunity to grab somebody to come with you, and it's an opportunity to grow, just to grow. That's why we're here. That's on planet Earth.
Well, and thank you for answering the phone and being a person behind the scenes that will have a conversation with somebody interested in attending. That's really fantastic.
I take a lot of pleasure in answering the calls around this event. I always pick up when I can.
Yeah, and for our listener too, I know 100% of the conferences, things that I have gone to, I've gone by myself. And there's every bit of fear of thinking, oh, everybody else has got a friend and I don't know anybody. But if you can set that aside, because that is just the fear I think that our minds come up with. So many people do travel on our own, alone to this kind of thing. Don't have any fear of that. Once you get there and you say the first hello to the first person, you feel like you're at home. This is where you need to be. And it is such a delight to be associated with this group. Kathleen, I can't thank you enough just for all that you've done. And even with the AREI, the people that I've met that at one point I was kind of an outsider looking in, like, how can I meet these people in this organization? And now I feel like I'm just part of the big family. And of course we want to share it. So open to all,
Yes.
Whether you're traveling with a friend or traveling by yourself. The hardest part, I think, sometimes is just clicking the register now button. But I believe that things start in our life when we register. Somebody told me this once, and I'm going to just share this, Kathleen. I don't know if it's going to sound silly or not, but they compared it to say it's February now, and I want to book a trip to Hawaii. So even though it's months away, I buy my plane ticket and book my hotel room. Well, all of a sudden I'm starting to see Hawaiian shirts everywhere. And, I'm really picking up on it. Well, I have found over the last, since 2002, when I first started doing different kinds of courses, the moment I registered, all of a sudden things would start showing up in my life in association to whatever that conference was about. So it is something I challenge people in a playful way. Once you register, you start seeing, if you're interested in, I don't know, afterlife communication or something, soul empowerment or whatever that thing is, you'll start seeing it show up. Like, I'll already put you on the path. And then you'll just be a little further along. Your soul will be a little bit higher vibration, I guess you can say, by the time you arrive. So I don't know. Do you agree with that, Kathleen? Or you think I'm crazy?
No, I completely agree with you, because what it does when you hit that button is you're taking action. You're changing your vibratory field, and the way you're influencing the field around you in the frequency to be in tune with the opportunity and what it represents to you. So it's very powerful stuff. It's like an affirmation. It's like saying, I am taking care of me, and everything raises up from there.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful world we live in. But we live sometimes in the illusion that we're just these humans. We can't have this. Woe is me. But, oh, I love how you're just turning everything up. And we are powerful. And, oh, I'm so excited about this.
Me too.
You know
Me
what?
too. So will you talk to us about your two events?
Say that again?
Will you talk to us about your two events real quick?
Oh, I sure can.
Yes.
Thank you for that. We Don't Die Boston is actually happening next weekend, which will be February 22nd through 24th. And there's just a few spots left if anybody wants to be a daredevil and sign up last minute. And We Don't Die Orlando is March 29th through 31st. And I have an international team centered around the afterlife, between mediumship demonstrations, trance mediumship demonstrations. Scott Milligan will be there, the physical medium. Sonia Rinaldi is coming from Brazil. She was our keynote speaker at the last symposium. She is bringing her full presentation of the pictures and audios she's getting working with the afterlife. I've got some mediums coming from around the world, including a gentleman who is a spirit artist. So there'll be a woman doing the mediumship reading, and he'll be there with his notepad doing drawings. And what is amazing is that the person she's describing ends up being the person that's on that canvas or that piece of paper. I say it's a transformational experience you can bring wherever you're at in your life, experiencing grief or have questions about the afterlife. Just bring it, and then you'll walk out the other side very similar to the Soul Summit, having some great friends for life. I think my things are more, I don't want to say entry level, that's the wrong thing, but I think more geared towards the afterlife with some talk of soul empowerment. And then also there'll be great things there if you are grieving. So lots of fun as well. And
Beautiful.
Just one little room with different speakers taking turns in the front of the room. I don't even think we're going to have a stage as such, just a little platform. So I'm just throwing my hat in, doing live events, keeping them small, but keeping them powerful. And I will be filming them also, just because I think it's the people that are attending. Eventually, we can get this out on the internet to get this information to as many people as we can. So that's just a little nugget about my events. So thank you for asking.
Fantastic. It sounds wonderful. I know it's wonderful.
Yeah. And then eventually we'll be together doing something. And you just never know how life goes. I mean, my plans could change the end of the year. Something could happen. And there you find me at Soul Summit Scottsdale. But even if I'm not there physically, I will be there in spirit. I will be, because you guys are my soul sisters. And for our listener, really, if this sounds appealing to you, just register. Yeah, just go for it. SoulSummitScottsdale.org is the website. September 12th through 16th. Is that what you said? I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I think
it's the 12th through the 15th.
15th. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. At the name of the hotel, Doubletree?
Is Doubletree Resort, Scottsdale.
And for those who were at the Afterlife Symposium last year, it's the same place. And I'm delighted that you're bringing in a few meals together, because, sometimes it's hard squeezing in the bite to eat. So I'm glad you're including that as well. Kathleen, any final words or anything that I forgot to ask you, or something else you want to share?
Sandra, you are so thorough. I really appreciate that very much. And you're so up it, and I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I love to share. Of course I do. And for our listener, thank you for being part of this. We are rapidly approaching 300 episodes of We Don't Die Radio. We're on our 4th year. It went from just this tiny little thing, me sharing what I love, to now, I don't even know, 50,000 listeners around the world. It's quite a few. So thank you.
Wow.
I know. And if this is your first episode, there's lots more. Our home base is WeDon'tDieRadio.com. iTunes, iHeartRadio, some of the other podcast apps will only include the last 100. But if you're interested in, say, near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences, or who knows, any topic related to the afterlife, if you go to WeDon'tDieRadio.com, you can just scroll down and see who some of the speakers have been, and just click on a random episode. That's always fun. Every episode is designed to give you evidence of the afterlife and some tools to live a powerful life. There's also a free copy of an audio that I call How to Survive Grief. I've got a PDF file, my 19 Reasons to Believe in the Afterlife, and then you can also read some chapters of my book, We Don't Die. So I'm going to close this right now just saying once again, thank you to our guest, Kathleen Malone, and I know Suzanne Wilson wasn't here, but we'll talk to her in the future, and thank you to Suzanne. Feel free to visit soulsummitscottsdale.org, and then also Kathleen's website is sundanceonsuccess.com, because she really does stand behind people and she helps people get their messages out to the world, which is great. So in closing, my name is Sandra Champlain, and I'm always so happy to be your host on We Don't Die Radio. I do believe that life is an education for the soul, and that your life here on earth is important. I tell you what, though, fear can be a bear, and sometimes it just takes doing something bigger than you know yourself to be. And so whether it's maybe registering for an event or something like that, just if it's calling out to your heart, just go for it. And then the good things will follow, that I promise. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.